Tyre Nichols, justice delayed, accountability denied? The brutal death of Tyre Nichols ignited a firestorm of outrage. But is justice truly being served, or are systemic loopholes shielding those responsible? Give a like and subscribe. Leave a comment. The state court trial for 3 former officers will be held with a jury from outside Memphis. Shelby County Judge James Jones Jr. made this critical decision. The officers facing trial are Tadarrius Bean, Demetrius Haley, and Justin Smith. All 3 have pleaded not guilty to second-degree murder. 2 other officers, Emmitt Martin and Desmond Mills Jr., are also charged. They are expected to change their not guilty pleas in state court. Prosecutor Paul Hagerman confirmed the jury will be selected from elsewhere in Tennessee. The trial is scheduled to begin April 28th. Tyre Nichols died after a traffic stop on January 7, 2023. Police video showed officers pepper spraying, tasering, and beating Nichols mercilessly. Nichols died 3 days later, a direct result of the officers' actions. The 5 officers involved were swiftly fired and charged with murder. This horrific incident sparked national protests and renewed calls for urgent police reform. The nation demanded accountability. 5 officers were charged with second-degree murder in state court. Martin and Mills are expected to change their pleas, potentially implicating others. The 5 officers were also indicted on federal charges. These include excessive force, deliberate indifference, and witness tampering. Martin and Mills pleaded guilty to federal charges, a significant development. Bean and Smith were acquitted of civil rights charges of using excessive force and being indifferent to Nichols' serious injuries. Haley was acquitted of violating Nichols' civil rights causing death, but he was convicted of 2 lesser charges of violating his civil rights causing bodily injury. Sentencing for the 5 officers in the federal case is pending. Former Lieutenant Dwayne Smith retired with full benefits before an administrative hearing. Smith was a supervisor on the Scorpion Unit, a unit now under intense scrutiny. He was charged with neglect of duty and violating body camera policy. Critically, he failed to take command of the scene or call for medical assistance. This move is widely seen as a calculated attempt to avoid accountability. The family's attorneys have expressed deep concern. Rachel Brackney notes this is often standard practice in law enforcement. This raises serious questions about systemic protection of officers. The 5 officers were indicted on federal charges, a crucial step. The Justice Department is conducting a patterns and practices investigation. This investigation is examining use of force, arrests, and potential discriminatory policing. The DOJ also announced a separate review concerning use of force, de-escalation strategies, and specialized units in the Memphis Police Department. 21 hours of video and audio recordings were recently released to the public. These recordings reveal officers' actions and statements before, during, and after the beating. The recordings show officers focused on the possibility of Nichols being under the influence of drugs. This is despite autopsy results showing only low levels of alcohol and THC. Medics even administered naloxone to reverse a potential opioid overdose. This highlights a dangerous rush to judgment. Inconsistencies in the officers' accounts of the events are glaring. Officers recorded themselves saying Nichols had tried to grab an officer's gun. However, none of the videos clearly show this. They also claimed he resisted arrest, even though Nichols appeared to be complying with their commands. The police chief later said the department couldn't substantiate any reason for the stop. This raises serious questions about the legality of the initial encounter. Mills' body camera also recorded how he and his superior officer spoke to Nichols' mother and stepfather. The recordings paint a disturbing picture of misinformation and disregard. Dwayne Smith, who is not facing criminal charges, retired before police would have fired him. This further fuels concerns about a lack of accountability. Attorneys are meticulously reviewing the additional video evidence. They expect it to confirm the lack of justification for the officers' actions. Ben Crump and Antonio Romanucci are representing Nichols' family. They are committed to seeking justice for Tyre. The family is deeply disturbed that the Memphis Police Department allowed and accepted Smith's retirement. This perceived betrayal adds to their pain. The case is a focal point for discussions about police brutality and systemic racism. It highlights the urgent need for accountability at all levels. It emphasizes the critical need for systemic reforms within law enforcement. The U.S. Department of Justice opened a patterns and practices investigation. This investigation will examine how Memphis Police Department officers use force and conduct arrests. It will also assess whether the department engages in racially discriminatory policing. The four who remain charged face federal trial in May and state court trial in August. Following the January 2023 release of police body camera footage, the city had planned to release more video. However, the judge granted the defense's motion for a delay until such time as the state and the defendants have reviewed this information. A coalition of media organizations is pressing to have them made public. Lawyers for the former officers argue that their rights to a fair trial must be recognized and protected. The public's right to know hangs in the balance. Official autopsy records obtained by NPR showed that investigators ruled Nichols' manner of death as a homicide. The autopsy documents detail the horrific injuries sustained by Nichols. He sustained blunt force injuries to his head, neck, torso, and extremities. Multiple cortical contusions and hemorrhages were found throughout his body, including to his brain. He also sustained multiple contusions, abrasions, and bruising to his body. The autopsy paints a gruesome picture of the brutality inflicted upon Tyre Nichols. The question remains, will the legal system deliver true justice for Tyre Nichols, or will systemic failures continue to protect those who abuse their power? Call to action. This case demands more than just our attention. We must demand systemic change. Contact your elected officials and demand police reform legislation. Support organizations fighting for police accountability and racial justice. Share this video to raise awareness and keep Tyre Nichols' name alive. Only through sustained action can we prevent future tragedies and ensure that justice prevails.